Today is going to be a great day. And why is that? We're going to do a classic CrossFit workout and then fully at home. We're going to take the workout that's called DT, which is a hero workout. It has 5 rounds for time of 12 deadlifts, 9 hang cleans, and 6 push jerks. And we'll kind of turn it into an at-home variation with a heavy bag. So for this one, I do need my bag, and I brought my own douche bag for today. So, 3 different movements for the warm-up. We're going to introduce another new movement, but one we haven't programmed before, which is the Pallof press, which is a great movement for core stability. Also great if you're pregnant. So if you're pregnant and you're joining us, you can just join right away, doing all the movements we do here as well. How does it look like? You need to attach the band to something. You can use a pole in home if you have that, or just a plain door handle. Make sure you secure the band properly when you do so. When you have that band there, you're going to go into a half squat position or a quarter squat position that Edward and Sval are going to get into right now. We're going to have the band right in front of the chest, and what we'll do from there is we're going to literally press the band away, and then we're going to bring the band back to the chest. We're going to press the band away. We're going to bring the band back, and we do that for multiple repetitions in a row. Great first exercise. We do 10 reps on one side, then we switch to 10 reps on the other side. You guys can take the band off the pole. Go back to your regular spots. Now for the next one, we're going to stand on the band. We're going to make sure we have the palms facing the legs, and we have tension when we have the arms nice and long. From there, we're going to pull the elbows over the shoulder with the band going towards the chin. And then we have our upright row, and we come back down. And we just do this, repetition, repetition, repetition. There we go. Just keep moving through with the upright rows here. Very nice way of warming up the shoulder. Even if you have an injury, it feels a bit pinchy. I want you to go very slow and focus on driving the elbows out and up instead of just plain up. Good, upright rows. Now the third movement, we can connect. So we're going to bring the band over our head. We're going to make sure our feet are at hip width stance. We're going to soften the knees. So we're going to unlock the knees. And we're going to start on our band good mornings. We shift back. We come back up. We squeeze your glutes very hard. What we do here is we go sit into the heel. We're pulling a bit on the band can help as well. We go sit into the heel, try to find our hamstrings, and then squeeze our glutes to fire up into extending of the hip joint here. Very nice band good mornings. If you have injuries with the back or the hamstring, I want you to just do this without a band and still try to find range of motion of the hip there. Good job, guys. 5 minutes of 10 Pallof presses to each direction. Then we add 15 of the upright rows, and we finish around with 20 of the good morning. For 5 minutes straight, just focus on pure control. Don't rush these movements. They're very good to do. We start in 10 seconds. I'm gonna step out of screen. You set me free. Let me out this misery. You guys start pressing away. So from the chest, away from the body. And the good thing, guys, in that partial squat movement is that you also try to maintain your hips in place. You actually have to squeeze your glutes, your quads. Even your hemis are on fire while your core is holding you in spots. So it's a really good controlled movement to work on core stability here. Mariska would be very proud of us when she sees this video, that's for sure. 10 reps aside, and then after the 10 reps, I need them to detach their band, go back into their regular spot, and they're going to start hitting their upright rows. And guys, so we're standing on the band, we're having our palms facing towards the body. We try to pull the elbows out and up. Good. So the more your shoulder is feeling pinchy, the more you want to focus on pulling the elbows out. If it feels all good and comfortable, you really want to focus on the height of the elbow, with the band getting as close to the chin as possible. Nice, 15 reps. Obviously with the band, as always, you want to control the downward motion as well. That's where the band is pulling you down. You're going to fight that using the muscles in the upper back and shoulder. Then upon completion of 15 reps, you put it around your head, make a little necklace there, and you start making good mornings for a set of 20 here, shifting the weight into the heel and your hamstrings, squeezing your glutes, so squeeze your butt to get your hips back underneath the body. So think hips back forward. Hips back forward. All right, so that only took 1:45. You could probably squeeze in 3 of those rounds in total. Otherwise, you go after that 5-minute time frame. You make it 3 rounds. Good luck and press pause. Our second portion of today's session is pure mobility. We're going to have 3 different movements in here. And the way we're going to do this is the following. Your interval timer will be set at 12 intervals, 40 seconds of work, with 15 seconds of transition time. The first interval will be a straddle, just seated on the floor. So we had a couple of sessions within now and like 10 days ago, a couple of sessions with straddle variations that were all forced straddles. Today we're going to do a plain straddle. You're just going to sit there, legs spread out, you'll just lean forward. Very simple concept. Now, after that 40-second time frame, the second one will be doing a scorpion stretch statically. So you just hold a scorpion on one side. The third interval will again be a scorpion on the other side. The fourth interval will be a child's pose with a focus on the lat muscles. That's 1 round of 4 intervals. You do that 3 times in total, and you have done your mobility for the day. Now, Swell is ready. Edward is ready, so they're sitting in a straddle right away. I'm going to start the timer, and when they hear the last beep, there it is, very simple. Whatever your level of mobility and flexibility is, you're just going to reach forward. 3, 2, 1, lean, boom. Now what you can do here is what I always like to do when I sit in a straddle, which I always do, is I sit, I have my fingers on the floor, and I try to walk my fingers forward. I like pulling my body into a straddle even more. Good. Now we did 4 straddles by, for example, doing the rolling variation last week. We rolled back, we rolled forward into straddle. We also did banded straddles. We did pulling ourselves into straddle by grabbing onto the toes or the ankles or whatever. But now we just go for this. If you have a buddy at home and you're okay with touching each other, then you can push each other into the straddle. Hi. So we go on our belly, face down, legs back. Arms are going to be spread out to the side, perpendicular to the body. We're going to start off with the right leg in 5 seconds by bringing it up as high as possible with the heel to the ceiling, and then bringing it to the other opposite hand. Up, 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 and we reach. Now what I like you to do here is, first of all, you're aiming to get your foot as close to your hand as you possibly can. And in the meantime, you're also actively driving your shoulder into the floor while your feet stays there, or your foot stays there. That's very important. So it's a good lower back warm-up. It's actually also a great warm-up for the hip flexors and the shoulders. And we're going to need a lot today during that DT type of workout. So it's a very good way of warming up. So we have, 5 more seconds, and then we switch to the other side. 3, 2, 1, and beep. 15 seconds to switch, so relax in the middle for a couple of seconds before we move to the other side. And then we do the left leg coming over the upper body to the right arm. 3, 2, 1. All the way over, reach for the hand, keep it in spot. Nice, gentlemen, that's very good. Now, if you're at home and you feel like it's very uncomfortable to stay in this position, you can always opt for the dynamic variation of the scorpion, which is literally the way you just started the rep. But once you touch the floor with the foot, you can come all the way back down into that position where you're laying like a T. And then you come back into that scorpion. You keep doing it dynamically. Something you can do after the workout as well, as a great finisher or cool down or stretch, is do 50 scorpions for quality, for example. That would be a great way of finishing your session today. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to go in a basic child's pose at home as well. We're going to sit on our knees. We're going to make sure our knees are slightly pointed outwards, away from the foot. Good. We sit onto our heels. We reach forward with the arms. We have our pinkies pressed into the floor, our thumbs towards the ceiling. Good. Now in the child's pose, it's important that the knees are slightly outside of the hip, outside of the feet, to get a good stretch there. And to have the thumbs pointing to the ceiling, pinkies down, helps you to stretch the lats a bit more. Other than that, you try to be as relaxed as possible in the lower body, just sitting back. And if you want to make it more active, it's the upper body pressing down into the floor, most importantly. So 15 more seconds of this. 10 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There it is. 2 more rounds on your own. If you want to do a cool down after today's session, do the thing that I just told you. Get the scorpion stretch, do it dynamically, and make sure you do it for 40 to 50 reps at your own speed. Bye. Okay, so we have 3 different movements, the same as the real DT, and it is a deadlift, a hang clean, and a shoulder to overhead variation. Normally as push jerks, we go for a shoulder to overhead variation because it's very hard to do push jerks with very weird implements, okay? So a push press would also be fine. Original DT is 12-9-6 with a barbell. Let's see what we can come up with using the bag and still mimicking the movements as closely as possible. Now, the first movement is going to be the deadlift. You're going to have your feet underneath your hips. They're holding the bag already. You're going to have a slide knee bend. They're going to sit back, bring the bag as close to the floor as they can, and come back up. Boom, here we go. Sitting back as much as possible helps you elevate the hamstrings as much as possible. Using your glutes to come up makes it a really firm and proper hinge. Here we go. Upon completion of the X amount of reps that we need to do, we stand there. Now we're going to do the same setup, but we go to the knee only. From there we extend and we flip the bag to our front rack position. You guys do a couple of reps for me, please. Now the focus point with these hang cleans is keeping the arms nice and long while moving through. And ideally the bag or the hands right on the bag are going to approximately be around knee height as a bottom position for the hang cleans. You guys can rest for a second. Edward, keep the bag in your front rack. So you can ditch the bag for a second. Now, if you have an injury in the elbow that's not allowing you to do all of that pulling in the hang clean, in that case, I want you to do 9 front squats instead. So you just keep the bag in that front rack, so we're still loading the front of the body as much as possible here, and going for that front squat. That is very good. Now let's have a look at the third and final movement of the DT variation with the bag, and that is the shoulder to overhead. They're going to demonstrate the push press for you. So there's going to be leg drive from the front rack. They're going to bring it overhead, hold it for a second, come back down. You guys can connect the reps if you want to. So 1 rep into the other, staying as upright as possible, really forcing their legs into the bag, finishing with the shoulder, giving a quick hold overhead. Very good. Now what Edward will show you finally, as Val can take a break here, is an injury option for not going overhead. Because we want to see some upper body work in there, we're going to add another pulling movement. So we have deadlifts, hang cleans, and another pulling movement, which will be the bend over row with the bag. So I need him to sit back, reach down with the bag, and pull the elbows back and up, and make sure the bag just touches the belly. That's great. Some bend over rows there as a substitution for 6 reps. So not a 70 or 50 kilo barbell, but just a heavy bag. Doing 12 deadlifts, 9 hang cleans, and 6 shoulder to overhead. We call it our bag version of DT. We do it in a 10-minute AMRAP. Let's see how many rounds and reps we can do. And let's also see how long you can keep that bag in your hands. It's going to be a good challenge for today. Now, Svo and Edward are going to start the workout with you guys. So let's all start together. I have the timer set at 10 minutes, and we start in 10 seconds. 12, 9, and 6 is our rep scheme. And I think they're going to attempt to do this unbroken. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So first we complete 12 repetitions of the deadlift, sitting back with it, extending up with it. Very nice. They utilize a touch and go from the floor, whereas Ed does a touch and go floating, which is also good. Depends on where the hands go. The hands decide how low you go. Ideally, that's going to be in the deadlift approximately mid-shin. In the hang clean, the hands are going to be approximately mid-thigh there. Or knee height. I'm fine with both. So 9 of the hang cleans, and then they move straight into 6 of the shoulder to overhead. I like how they're flipping their back, like they're holding a barbell that's spinning firmly. Nice, guys. 6 reps, and then after the 6, they either take a break or they go right into their second round. Here we go. All right, good. That round only lasted less than a minute. They probably cannot hold on to this pace, but a 10-round DT in that 10-minute time frame, that would be insane. You guys continue and press pause.